Our thinking from the beginning was that we needed to be special, and we wanted to make sure that the students felt that it was an environment where it was informal, it was relaxed, they could have a lot of input. I mean, really almost total input. We really were constantly asking the questions of the students. What do you want to see at the school? What would be special for you? What would be interesting for you? And talking to students about thinking outside of the box and sharing the idea that we were creating the school together. And that was a really key idea for us.
So Zvi and I got to HHNE and we were told, okay, here's the school. And we saw this building downstairs and we thought, okay, where is it? There are classrooms, okay, those are rooms, but there aren't classrooms. We had to make them classrooms. So I think Gene Wittenberg had said, well, I have a desk at my house, I'll bring something over, and Zvi had a desk, I think, that afternoon. And we thought, okay, well, where are we gonna sit? Oh, well, I have some chairs, Gene says, and brings over some chairs. And so Zvi and I had 2 chairs. So then we're in his office, which is a room with Gene's desk and 2 chairs. It was very exciting. It was really a fun time. We laughed, we cried, we were scared. We thought, how is this going to happen? How is this school going to open in August? How are we supposed to open the school right after Labor Day?
The next step, obviously, was to start thinking about teachers and also to start thinking about recruitment and students. And I remember very well receiving a list from, I guess, the board at that time, or some people who had worked on getting off the ground. And I think there were 3 definites, and then there were maybe 15 maybes, and then there were some other names at the bottom that were basically had said no, but if I had a chance I was supposed to meet with those families as well. And I'll never forget the first meeting I had. Ilana Freund, if I remember correctly, was a definite, but Dina Weinberg was a maybe. and so I arranged to go meet with those 2 girls, and the first thing, before I could say anything, before I could even introduce myself, when I came into the room, Dina said, I just want you to know from the start that I'm not really here because I want to be here, and I'm definitely not coming to the school. And I said, okay, great, you know, that's good.
Before, when we found that it was opening, I was excited because I didn't want to go away to school. And I remember we were in camp together and we were like jumping up and down that we had a place to go, even though you were pretending like you didn't want to go there.
One of the first events that we had was when we were meeting the students for the very first time at the Wittenberg's house.
So I guess at that first barbecue, that was the first real HHNE event. Everybody came with a backup plan. Nobody was quite sure that they were 100% going to HHNE. But in the end, I think everybody that was at the barbecue showed up the first day of school. So I guess it was successful.
The first time I met Avi Tannenbaum was at the barbecue that we had at Fran and Gene Wittenberg's home. And Avi Tannenbaum came over and he introduced himself. And he said, I'm not really here because I'm coming to the school. I'm not coming to the school. And I'm just here because I know the kids and I know Jenny and we know the Lichters and my mom wanted me to be here. And sure enough, he was holding onto this book that I asked him what he was reading, and he said, this is the assigned reading that I need for the other school that I'm going to, which I think was the public school in Worcester. And I thought to myself, wow, even at this point, you know, we're not sure how things are going to play out. But Avi was a great kid. I could tell that from the start. And of course, he ended up coming and being one of the pioneers, which was an important part of developing HHNE. Each of the students at that point, really, their personality and the fact that they made that decision to come on board was essential for getting us started.
One thing that really stands out in my mind is the degree of comfort that I felt. I felt very close to the other students. I felt that nobody got lost, that even the most shy students had a place to go and had friends, and really felt like they belonged. And I definitely feel like we were trying to set up precedents, this is going to be, I remember conversations like, oh, in 50 years when we come back, they're still going to be having communities with Iraq. But mostly I just remember that I had really good friends, I had good relationships with the teachers.
I feel that one of the benefits for me going to HHNE was that there weren't the typical cliques that might develop at another school. Like if I went to a big public school with 900 people, there wasn't the group of the jocks and the nerds. It was just, you know, everyone was just kind of together. And we were one group. We were a group of people who were starting a high school. And I don't know of anyone else who can say that.
One of the things that was great about those days, and that I miss tremendously, is the personal relationships that were built, and really such a grounded foundation of the students' love for us and our love for the students. And because the school was so small, Zvi and I were really able to get to know each student, whether it was for onegs when they came over our house or for lunch on Shabbos and we had all of them packed in.
So our relationship with the Kahns was unbelievable, something that is very rare and I don't think most students are able to have with their principal.
Yeah, even now people think we're crazy when we talk about that we're, you know, so close with our principal. And
right. When I think about high school, or even like when my husband and I were dating and he'd be like, so what did you used to do on, we'll say Shabbos in high school? I used to say, oh, me and Lonzy used to go out with Rabbi and Mrs. Kahn to the movies and then to families. Yeah, so we had a pretty exciting high school life.
Yeah, we would go to the movies with them. Oh, we would go on Shabbos and play Boggle with them. They're very into
we were one couple, they were the other couple, and we seemed to always beat them.
What was it like at HHNE when it first started? Well, I remember the first snowfall. We were all sitting in our classes. It was probably about 3 in the afternoon, and Rabbi Kahn comes around as serious as can be, opens every classroom door and says, everyone follow me outside. And we go outside, and what does he do? He starts throwing snowballs at us. And that was the introductory HHNE snowball fight.
I remember that it was great because of our classes. Like, we only had 4 kids in our class, so we really got individualized attention.
Right. I remember one day, actually, it was a bad snowstorm.
It was just me and you.
You were sick.
Oh, really?
I think you left early, and all the Springfield and New Haven people were out, and it was just me and Mr. Silverman in math class. And I was like, are we really going to have class now? I think he still had class, if I remember correctly. It was probably the strangest thing ever. And I was still 25% of the class, so it made sense.
And we got to write on our college application that we were the top.
Yeah, one of the top 4
in the class.
That helped.
So that definitely helped.
Sometimes students or families would ask me or would talk about the sacrifices of coming to a new school, of coming to a small school. And that was certainly an issue, you know, and we talked about it, and there were certain things that were being given up by coming to HHNE in terms of facilities or school size and things like that. But the students also got many very special benefits that they would not have received had they gone to, let's say, a Hall High School or a private school or even a yeshiva in New York, a bigger school. One of those was being part of building the school, having the input and creating something special for years to come. We were very conscious, each student, the teachers, all of us were very conscious of the fact that we were building something for the future. As a matter of fact, I think the very term pioneers was really made up by the students the first time. They viewed themselves in that sense, that Hartford and Springfield and New Haven needed a Jewish high school, and that they were a part of creating that. And that's not something that they would have been able to feel at any other place, at any other school.
When I was there for the start of HHNE, it really prepared me for working in the Jewish nonprofit world, which is what I do now. Seeing, you know, my parents and dozens of other families coming together and working tirelessly for this school to start. And, you know, there were meetings in people's living rooms all hours of the night. And just seeing that was a great motivation for me to kind of put my all into the Jewish nonprofit world.
I always kind of took the lesson of having a small community to base myself within the larger community. I took that to college and I took that to graduate school. I went to a school with a relatively small Hillel. I went to a lab with a relatively small group of graduate students. But being at HHNE and being able to do whatever you wanted made you feel like you could do anything.
One of the best things for me about HHNE was the Kahns. Now that I myself have embarked on my own journey in the education field, I've learned so many lessons from them, and I hope that what they taught me, I could teach to my students. They taught me about the importance of loving your students and creating a comfortable, warm environment for them, because that's essential for a person to for a child to learn their best.
As my kids are growing up, I think back on HHNE and our kids there. We take pride in where they are today. We feel like their start was at HHNE, and hopefully they'll remember where they came from, and they'll take that with them. They'll want to give their kids experiences as they had. We have wonderful teachers that have come out of that school, wonderful doctors that have come out of that school, wonderful businessmen and businesswomen and mothers, and it is just very heartwarming when we talk about and think about and hear about our kids from HHNE.